Now here's a little bit of science behind this, leading us to our fourth step. Breathing. Breathing and air within our body does incredible things. We have an autonomic nervous system that runs our bodily functions, right? It helps us restore our muscles. It helps us with our heart rate, our blood flow, all the things in the center sphere that are bodily functions. But you've got sympathetic and parasympathetic systems that help manage those nerves. Now, I mentioned earlier that the body has energy and it doesn't know if it's excitement or if it's fear. Our brain labels that energy, so it's how we reframe it. But scientifically and physically, what's happening is that the same energy can be relabeled. So in your sympathetic side, what's fight or flight, where the hormones are like, feeling nervous and we feel rushed, and it's the cortisol and the adrenaline kick-starting our body into anxiety, maybe exhaustion, maybe feeling stressful. But when we reframe that and we add breath to it, that helps us physically calm down as well as mentally calm down. We go to the parasympathetic side, which is the feel-good hormones, the dopamine and the serotonin. That's where fight or flight becomes rest and digest. That's where your stress calms down. And that's where you're speaking really, really fast, and the breath will help you slow down. So the breath can do this whole beautiful transition. And the exercise we're going to do today is called box breathing. Box breathing will be the breath flow for our system. And box breathing is a technique that's used by the United States Navy SEALs, professional and amateur athletes. Certainly need that for running, right, Mark? And it's recommended by medical professionals to reduce stress, restore calm, and get the excitable adrenaline pumping, the dopamine, not the bad hormones. So let's sit back and try it. I'm going to ask you again to sit and close your eyes. And if you look at the shape, before you close your eyes, actually, you look at the shape of a box. The box breathing happens in 4 sides of a box. You're going to breathe in across the top for 4 counts. You're going to hold the breath for 4 counts. You're going to exhale the breath for 4 counts. And then you're going to hold the breath out for 4 counts. We're going to repeat the cycle 4 times. And if you close your eyes, I will walk you through this as the 4th step of the power-up drill. Breathe. All right, here we go. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold out 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Hold. Gently open your eyes. Who feels a shift in their body? Julia, I see some head shaking. Who feels a little more relaxed?
Definitely relaxed. Yeah.
Maybe that energy is just settling down. You're in that relax and digest state. That shift, these 4 steps, are what get you ready for the speaking event, for the speaking opportunity. And you now can take that energy in your body and say, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. Anybody else feel something interesting about that box breathing, or have you done something similar to it in the past?
I see a comment from Nadia on in the chat.
Oh yeah, would you read it for me?
Nadia, did you want to come in?
Sure. I mean, I say more stable, but I was actually gonna say, I think it's the first time I have the hold after breathe out. I knew the breathe in, hold, breathe out, but not the hold after breathe out. So that was an interesting new technique. So thank
It
you.
is. And when we do the cycles, it helps create a cadence, a pattern, similar to what Mark was sharing about probably with running. You get into the zone. You've heard of athletes getting into the zone, artists get into the zone, musicians. Maybe you at work, you're doing something and you're in a project and time just slips away. That's a calming state and a great place to come from.
I had some experience of speaking,
Yeah.
and when I was like, I don't know, if too nervous, I always was I was having not enough breath when I was finishing the sentence. I was like, and like, and I needed the breath, and it was like so interrupted, and I think it might help to, you know, be calm enough to finish the sentence, to have enough, you know, space to, you know, to speak, because it's sometimes when you want to emphasize and want to, you know, make some point, and you're talking too much and not breathing enough, it sometimes gets you to the point that you are like, and you cannot proceed. You're just like choking or something.
It's so true. And when you feel that tension, take that breath. And there's nothing wrong with stopping while you're speaking, taking a deep breath to get yourself back into calm. This is a recovery tool while you're speaking, not after the fact. And you mentioned, Taurus, you know, things about being in these situations and where you're tongue tied or you feel like you don't know what to say. In our next session, we're going to learn about different speaking prompts that'll help you also recover, how to get back on track. So as we build on this basic framework of the Power Up drill, we're going to take a deeper dive into some of those scenarios that you shared and others might have. Incremental steps. We're building on something. And what I want you to do is take this Power Up drill and work on it as much as you can. Maybe you miss a day, maybe you commit to it 3 days a week, maybe you get to it 4 days a week. Even 1 day a week works. Between now and the next session, if you felt that shift happen just here today in minutes, imagine what it'll do over time. And you don't waste a whole session, a whole meeting, and saying, wow, I wish I did that. You know you can go in approaching it as if you just stepped off a throne. Julia, you have a question?
Yes, exactly. I wanted to ask the breathing exercise. Do you recommend us to do it every time before we do the talk, or in which kind of situations would you recommend us to do it?
I would say do it a few minutes before you're going to get into a talk. So if you have to present, let's say, or you have an important call coming up, maybe 15 minutes before, 20 minutes before, do the breathing exercise. Do the whole power up drill. It only takes minutes, right? Do a couple of tongue twisters, reframe, and imagine yourself sitting in the chair. Think of the opportunities. What are 3 things I'm going to say for this meeting? And then do the box breathing. 5 minutes. It'll set you right in the right mindset and shift those hormones. You could even do it at the beginning of the day and just trust that the rest of the day is going to follow suit. I will guarantee, just like Mark was doing with running, it's inconsistent, but the more consistent you are, the better you're going to get. The memory will kick in. The habits will build.
Great news, the conversation continues. When you subscribe, like, and ring the bell, you'll know when a new episode has released. As always, speak remarkably.